Welcome to the Wallingford Sports Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and Madison County SchoolSports.com.
All the way in for a touchdown.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter, or like us on Facebook, MCS TV, and of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube.
Welcome into the Wallingford Sports Show. I am Michael Watkins, and we are coming at you live from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hugh Davis along with us on this Monday, and also want to welcome in the new head coach for the Eastern Kentucky University men's Colonels and the football team. Mark Elder is also here with us. Later on, we will announce our Solo Diamond Sports Academy Players of the Week for the first time. And we'll also talk about the Golden State Warriors, the NBA playoffs, and the start off to the baseball season. How about them Reds, Hugh? Good start to the season.
5-1 and playing the 5-1 Cubs tonight, too.
Yeah, all that and more coming up on the show tonight. But first, we do want to say welcome to the new head football coach at EKU, Mark Elder. Coach, welcome in with us.
Michael, thank you for having me.
The 14th head coach in football history. Just take a second, tell us about yourself, and tell us what's coming up this weekend. I believe we've got the spring game, correct?
Absolutely. We have the spring game this Saturday at 4 o'clock. It's going to be a great day to come out and get to see the new Colonels. Well, obviously, we got a new system going in there, offense, defense, and special teams, and it'll be the first time that's on public display for everybody to see. So it'll be a great day for everybody to come out and check us out. Now,
the spring game, I know you said it's a good chance to kind of see the new faces that are here, some of the older faces. You spend, as yourself, a lot of time at Central Michigan, at Cincinnati, and then most recently at Tennessee. Just talk about your time as an assistant under Butch Jones, and what did you learn during your time there that you can bring here to Eastern?
Sure. 16 years as an assistant coach before getting this opportunity to lead Eastern Kentucky. And in the last 9, I spent under Butch Jones, getting to work with him, 3 at Central Michigan, 3 at Cincinnati, and then the past 3 at Tennessee. And great experience, great 9 years, several championships, a lot of winning seasons, and some NFL prospects that went on, and it was a blast, and really enjoyed that. All the success on the field, off the field, all those things were outstanding, and really helped mold me to take this next opportunity to be a head coach. And the formula that was there as far as winning and things along those lines, from recruiting standpoint, identifying players, to developing them, to the schematics of what we were doing, that allowed us to be extremely successful. We're taking a lot of those things here. Obviously, we're going to make adjustments and put our own spins on things because we have a whole new staff and so forth. But he was a huge mentor of mine, and couldn't help but be. I learned a great deal from a very successful man. And prior to him, I worked under 3 other guys that have been National Coach of the Year award winners. So we're going to mix all that stuff together, take ideas from the assistant coaching staff, and put together a winner here at Eastern Kentucky.
So we'll get to your coaching staff here in a minute. But first, it seemed like you're most known for your recruiting. What do you think makes you such a good recruiter? And then at this level, what do you think it's going to take to get those big-time recruits that are out there here on campus at Eastern?
Sure. I've had a lot of success in recruiting and coached in really all 3 phases of football, coached offense, defense, and special teams, which is a great asset as a head coach, having broad-based knowledge of the game. But in recruiting, it's really just about relationships and the ability to connect with young men, to connect with their families, to be a genuine individual, someone that's trustworthy, that they believe what you're telling them about the program and the situation is true. And I think that's really just what it comes down to, is just being who you are, being confident in who you are, and then spending the time to build a relationship and get to know the individual, the young man, personally on a very close basis, get to know his family, and connect with the people that are going to be influential upon his decision. And those are the important things to do. But it all starts with being who you are and building that relationship.
Now talk about the system that we can expect from you guys this year, as far as offensively, maybe defensively. Talk about that as well.
Well, offensively, we're going to be an up-tempo, no-huddle, fast-paced team. And we're going to have the ability to throw that change up and go fast and slow it down. But we're certainly going to be a very explosive offense, an offense that's exciting to watch. It's going to be up-tempo. We're going to try to be fast at times and then slow things down, but it's going to be a shotgun, no-huddle approach. And we're going to always utilize the best personnel that we can. So Sometimes that means that you're going to be in 4 wides or 5 wides, and sometimes that means that you're going to have 3 tight ends in the game, and sometimes you're going to have 2 backs. The most important thing is having the flexibility so that you can put the best people on the field. Throughout the last 9 years, we've had a wide variety of what that best personnel could be. During times at Central Michigan, we had 4 wide receivers or 5 wide receivers on the game every single play. During certain times, we had 2 backs on the field. The last couple of years at Tennessee, you had 2 really dynamic backs, so you're going to have those guys on the field at the same time. There's been times when you have multiple NFL tight ends, and so you had 2 tight ends and 3 tight end sets, and you have to have the flexibility within your offense to be able to put the best people on the field while still keeping your identity. And our identity is going to be up-tempo, shotgun, no huddle, but having the flexibility to put the best people on the field. And then defensively, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to be an aggressive defense. We're going to pressure the quarterback, affect the guy that matters most on the field, that quarterback. We're going to affect him with 4-man pushes, bringing the house, all of those things, mixing the coverage, trying to confuse him, not let him have a beat on exactly what we're doing, but yet keeping it fairly simple with just a handful of coverages, but being able to disguise those things well and do a great job of winning your one-on-one matchup. And in the last handful of years, I've been a special teams coordinator, and we've found a lot of success at the places I've been, where, again, we're keeping it simple, but we've put a big emphasis on special teams. We're practicing special teams every single day. The guys on the team know that it's extremely important to me and extremely important to us as a program, and there's no better example of how important that could be than what we were able to do last year at the place I was, where we were tops in the country in both punt returns and kick returns, and scored 6 touchdowns in returns, top 10 in punting and kickoff coverage. All those things were very helpful for our success.
Well, if you don't think special teams is important, ask Michigan State. I think that was a big factor in that game.
There's no doubt. That game was signed, sealed, delivered. Just had to get the ball off, and Michigan State did a great job in that game of just finding a way to make a play. But special teams truly is a third of the game, and there's no other facet of the game where you're averaging a 40-yard difference in field position in one play. There isn't. And so guys that put that to the side and say, we'll get to that later, or don't put a major emphasis on it, I think that you're missing the boat, because we're putting a major emphasis on it, because that is where the field position game is won and lost. And in this conference, I know that games are coming down to 1 and 2 possessions. And when you're looking at games that are coming down to 1 and 2 possessions, field position matters a great deal, and being explosive on special teams in a positive manner is going to help us find the edge between those wins and losses.
Now, you talked about some of the personnel. Can you talk about some of the players that were going to be big names for us this year and what we can look forward to? And also, I know you talked about special teams. I know Stanley Asmanon was a big player last year. Was he graduated last year?
He did.
He's gone. So talk about some of the voids that you're going to have to fill with some bigger players that are gone now.
Sure. Defensively, guys that have done a really nice job. Keontae's had a great spring so far. Really been proud of him. He's a coach on the field. He's extremely intelligent. He gets guys lined up. He's vocal. He's confident. He's experienced. So he's a guy that we're going to be relying on quite a bit in our back end, and very excited about him. Avery Pitt has had an outstanding spring as well. I know he's had a great career up to this point in time, and he has been a guy that consistently has shown up day in, day out, working his tail off, and has performed. And so you look at that, I mean, those are 2 upperclassmen that know what it takes to be successful, that have played a great deal during their career, and they're doing things the right way. And you've seen them progress over this spring. You've seen them progress as leaders, progress individually, and I'm excited for those guys to step up and have phenomenal senior years. And I know throughout my years, you always see seniors, they either have their best year or they seem to, for whatever reason, their focus is lost, or they get caught up in the moment and have not their best year. And I think those guys are primed to have great years coming up, and very excited about them. And offensively, there's a number of guys that have done really well. We've had Contavious has had a very nice spring. Ethan's had a very nice spring. Those guys have done a nice job. Benny has stepped up at times and done a good job with some things there. Our offensive line, we got a couple guys that have missed some practices due to some injuries and so forth, but I'm really pleased with what I've seen. That first group, the progress they've made over this spring has been great. I think we got a number of guys at the tight end position that are ready to step up and play at a high level. There's 3-4 guys there that can play, maybe even 5 guys at the tight end position. Yeah, it's going to be a strength of our team. So we might be in some 3 tight end sets at times, and that should be a strength of our team. And Devin Borders is obviously a guy that's extremely experienced, put up good numbers throughout his 3 years, and looking for him to have a great senior year as well.
All right, Coach, will hang with us. We'll take a commercial break. We'll come back. We'll talk to you some more. It's the Wallingford Sports Show, guys. We are live on 1340 WEKY, on 1550 WIRV, and also you can check us out on MadisonCountySchoolSports.com. Back in a moment on the Wallingford Sports Show from Buffalo Wild Wings in Richmond.
Welcome to the Wallingford Sports Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and MadisonCountySchoolSports.com.
All the way in for a touchdown.
For Sports Show live from Buffalo Wild Wings in the Richmond Center. Also want to say thanks to Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and to the folks over at Solo Diamond Sports Academy in North Kingland Drive. We'll be announcing our Solo Diamond Sports Academy Players of the Week coming on later in the show. Still got Coach Mark Elder with us from the Eastern Kentucky University football team. And, Coach, talked about the coaching staff earlier in the show. Just kind of talk about the guys that you've brought in to help you on the sidelines this year.
Sure. We have 9 full-time assistant coaches, and I've had the good fortune to work with 8 of the 9, and the other one I've known for almost 10 years. So a lot of familiarity, and obviously when you work side by side with someone over years, you know exactly what it is that they bring to the table. I couldn't be more excited about the staff that we have in place, and the great thing is the fact that we've all worked together. There's a ton of familiarity as far as the expectation of what it is that we're looking for as a program, because anytime that there's a coaching change, there's always going to be a new expectation. There's going to be a different set of standards and things along those lines. And the great thing is that we're already on the same page. You're not having, as a head coach, to coach your coaches up on what it is that we want. They pretty much know, because we've worked together in a successful organization previously and had a similar set of expectations. So it's very similar to what they've been used to. So I love the staff. I think that we've got the best staff in college football. I'm very excited about it. It's a youthful staff. Young guys, energetic guys. We're a high-energy group. Guys that are great recruiters, relate well to the players, coach aggressively on the field, and are fast-paced, moving guys. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great staff.
So you mentioned expectations. Can we talk about the expectations for the team this year, and then what also you want to do with the team in the future as far as the program here at Eastern?
Sure. Well, we're focused on one step at a time. You don't have a successful team when you're sitting there and you're worried about game 10 before you've played week 1. Yeah. We're worried about one opponent right now, and that's Purdue. And when I say we're worried about them, that's even a far ways from right now. Because right now we're focused on getting ourselves better. This is our first spring. We're implementing a brand new offense, defense, and special teams. So as much as we started breaking down Purdue, we started getting an idea of what they're doing and what we think they're going to be doing. We've focused all of our time this spring upon ourselves, making sure that we're the best team that we can possibly be. And a majority of the time, that's what we're going to do. If we focus on being the best team that we can be, obviously you got to scheme and game plan someone, but when you focus a majority of your time on you and being the best you that you can be, that's when you're going to end up with the end result that you want, which is obviously winning championships, which has been done years and years here. So we're not focused on the big picture down the road as far as week 10, week 11, playoffs, things like that. That's a million miles away. We're working on ourselves right now and Purdue. Those are the two things that we're really working on at this point in time.
And then for the future as well for the program, have you got any expectations for down the line that you want to do for the program?
Well, obviously the expectation levels here are high. I mean, this is a place that has been extremely successful. It's won 2 national titles. It's been a runner-up 2 other times, second most playoff appearances all time. So there's a very, very high expectation level. That we have a little bit of room that we have to make up to get back to where it once was. I mean, there hasn't been a playoff win here since 1994. So that's going to be over 20 years now that this very storied and very strong program hasn't had a playoff win. Been to the playoffs numerous times in that time, but hasn't had a playoff win. So obviously the expectation levels are extremely high to get back to where it once was, of one of the true powers, where it's a year in, year out playoff program and competing for a national title and doing those things. Absolutely, that's what this program should and will be. But obviously we've got to take steps forward before you don't just hit that home run on your first swing. You've got to take steps, baby steps forward to progress to get to that. It just doesn't, snap your fingers and have that stuff just appear overnight. It's a lot of hard work and it's a progress.
That would be nice, though, right?
It would be nice. I wish that we could just snap our fingers and say that's where we are. But obviously we've got to take steps forward, one step at a time.
Also, we know that Noah Spence is a big name. He's been mentioned as maybe even a top 5 or 10 NFL draft pick this year. He was with the program last year. And what can a name like that, who was here for one season, had a tremendous year last year, what can that do for the program as far as getting the name out there for EKU football?
Sure. All the indicators are that he's going to be a first-round pick. You never know where it's really going to end up until draft day, because that stuff's crazy. But Mel Kiper's got him top 10. I mean, he's on all these boards as a top 10, top 15 guy. And pass rushers are a premium, so he could go anywhere in the draft. You just never know. But obviously having a guy coming from Eastern Kentucky that's going on to the NFL to be a first-round pick, he'll be our 3rd first-round pick here at Eastern Kentucky all time. What that tells recruits is that there's no backseat here at Eastern Kentucky.
Exactly.
You can come here and you can accomplish every single one of your goals, which if you want to be an NFL player, if you want to go in the first round, can you do that here at Eastern Kentucky? Absolutely you can. So it's more about finding the right place, the right people, than it is, this place I can accomplish certain things that I can't at another place. Well, you're not saying that here at Eastern Kentucky. You can accomplish all of your goals as a player, as a student athlete here, including those opportunities to move on into the NFL, and not just as a free agent. You can go as a first-round pick. So that obviously is huge in recruiting, because guys see that it's a direct link. You can do that here. So if I love it at Eastern Kentucky, I can come here and accomplish all those goals.
Before we get you out of here, is there anything else you would like to say to the students and to the community here in Richmond and Eastern as well? And then we'll talk about the spring game some more before we get you out of here.
Lindsay and I, Lindsay's my wife, we absolutely love it here, and it's been phenomenal as far as moving here. We're not from here. I'm from Cincinnati. She's from up in Michigan, and it's been unbelievable as far as the welcome here. We couldn't appreciate everybody being so friendly, and we love it here. So very appreciative of the warm welcome here in this community. And then obviously, as you already alluded to, we've got our spring game this Saturday at 4 o'clock at Roy Kidd Stadium, and we would love to have a packed house. We'd love to have the community come out and get involved. And we're going to be an exciting brand of offense. We're going to be an exciting team to watch. We're going to play our tails off. We're going to be a tough football team, and this is our first opportunity to show that off, and we'd love for the community to come out and get to see the very first public display of what we're doing here as an offense, defense, and special teams.
All right, guys, that's this Saturday at 4 at Roy Kidd Stadium. Get out and support the Colonels. And, Coach, thanks for coming over.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
All right, guys, we'll take our second break here on the Wallingford Sports Show. We'll come back. We'll talk the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk some baseball. We'll also crown our Solo Diamond Sports Academy's Player of the Week. That and more coming up on the Wallingford Sports Show here from Buffalo Wild Wings in Richmond.
Welcome to the Wallingford Sports Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and MadisonCountySchoolSports.com.
All the way in for a touchdown.
Welcome back into the Wallingford Sports Show, live on 1340 WEKY, on 1550 WIRNV, and you can also check us out on MadisonCountySchoolSports.com. Hugh Davis, we've had a busy week as far as sports go. We do want to go ahead and crown our Solo Diamond Sports Academy Players of the Week for softball. Casey Snipe, we had her on the game last week. We did the Southern Central softball game last week. A tremendous game, a one-run game, came down to the last inning.
Won it in the bottom of the 7th, yes.
Snipe had
Central.
She had a solo home run early in the game, and then had the walk-off RBI for Central to win that game by 1 run. A tremendous game in that one. And on the boys' side, we'll crown Alec Rogers with the Player of the Game, or the Player of the Week. He was 2 for 2 in the game, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Did have a walk in the game as well. A really good game for Alec Rogers for Madison Southern in their win over Model. In that game, a good one as well through 4 innings. It was tied at they've tied at 4 going into the 4th inning, and then Southern scores 2 in the top of the 4th inning, take the lead 6-4, and then pretty much never look back. Scored 9 runs in the 5th to go ahead and finish it off in a mercy rule. But a 15-4 win for Southern over Model. Model, a team they're a really good team. They've been kind of inconsistent this year. Look for them to be better when the tournament, the district tournament and the regionals come around.
Is that one of the games you've got this week?
We've got 2 games this week. We'll have Williamstown versus Model tomorrow. That one will be on Eastern's Field. And on Thursday, we will have Estill County versus Owsley County softball up there in Irvine. So, guys, as far as Solo Diamond Sports Academy goes, they are going to have a Player of the Week every week. I want to say thank you to them for sponsoring us. They're over there on North Keeneland Drive. They'll help you get better at baseball, get better at softball. They got a batting cage, a weight facility, and Ken and Brian are so good that they've told me that they can even make me good at softball going up there and playing the adult league. And if they can do that, then they're pretty good at what they do.
Magicians, huh?
Exactly. Now, if they can make me good, I'm so bad at softball, Hugh. I laid down a bunt in adult softball, and I didn't even know you were allowed to do that. But that's how bad I am. I'm not a very good baseball or softball player. But I do want to say thanks to them for sponsoring us. You can go over there and check them out over on North Keeneland Drive in Richmond. But 2 games this week, and get over there and check them out. Always support our local teams. Williamstown versus Model tomorrow. That'll be on 1340 WEKY, as well as on IRV, and the softball game on Thursday, Estill County versus Owsley County. Also, I do want to make note, the Reds, they play this evening starting around 8:05, I believe, is the first pitch, playing the Cubs. A big game. The Reds off to a hot start, 5-1 right now.
Cubs are 5-1 too. So
yeah.
that's basically for this. Was it Central Division League?
Yeah. Well, it's
I know
still
it's early.
Still early. But I don't think. I think a lot of people thought the Reds would be winless by now. The Phillies, they're not where they used to be either. The Phillies are kind of a down team. But what a start for the Reds. Off to a 5-1 start. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No.
But now Chicago is a different breed. Now, they did lose a player, Kyle Schwarber, out. He had tore his ACL last week, I think on Friday night.
It was a collision in left center with the center fielder Fowler, and it didn't look that bad, not really. But I guess just as they say, sometimes you hit them in the wrong spot, and I think I can't remember if he walked off or not, but apparently,
yeah,
it's season ending too. So.
It was a little gruesome too. I saw a video where it looked like more of an ankle injury than an ACL injury, but obviously he's done for the year. But the Reds, a 6-2 win over the Phillies on opening day, 3-2 over the Phillies the next day, 10-6 over Philadelphia on last Thursday. Their only loss was a 6-5 loss to the Pirates, and a game that they should have won. Allowed a grand slam late in the game that gave the Phillies the lead, and they never looked back. But the Reds playing good baseball right now. You take 2 of 3 from a Pirates team that's got good expectations. Now the Cubs are on the road, and that's a division rival. Cubs are really good. They were in the World Series last year, so you expect, or they were in the World. Was it last year? It was the Royals Mets last year. So the Cubs were right there last year.
They were in the
Mets
playoffs,
beat them.
though, yeah.
So I think that their expectations are just as high, and we'll see how they do with now one of their best players gone. But if the Reds, if they can even, I think a sweep is out of the question, but if they could win 2 or 3 against the Cubs, then look out. I think everybody that jumped off the Reds bandwagon will be jumping right back on to start this season. As far as baseball goes, you look down as far as Major League Baseball, I think the teams that have been at the top here recently are still going to be at the top. The Royals are a team that they started off pretty good. Kansas City 4-1. You've got the only undefeated team left is Baltimore. They're 6-0. They're playing. I'm a big Red Sox fan. You know that. We're 3-4, 3-3 right now. We lost to the Orioles earlier this evening. But Kansas City hot 4-1. Oakland 4-3 over in the AL West. Washington is 3-1 in the NL East. The Cubs and Cincinnati tied for the Central lead at 5-1, and at 5-2 the Giants lead the NL West. But in baseball, there's such a long season, and then one injury can really hurt a team. But there's always a surprise, it seems. Last year I feel like the Nationals, everybody was on their train. They thought the Nationals were the team to beat. They didn't even make the playoffs. And now you've got a team. You look at the young teams. The Reds are a really young team. The Miami Marlins are a young team. Astros are a really young team, but they've got a lot of talent.
Yes.
So, it's hit or miss. Nobody really knows yet, and the Astros are 2-4. But it's such a long season that you're not really out of it till after the All-Star break, even if that.
Right.
And then at the MLB trade deadline is always crazy. It seems like there's big names that move there every year. Bigger than the NBA trade deadline and bigger than the trade deadline over the NFL for sure.
And then, of course, even the month of September, or August and September, you got potential transactions.
Yeah.
You got to clear all those waivers.
Exactly. Waivers are the big thing. So baseball season is fun. Now here, we're ready for the warm weather. You can obviously hear it. We're outside. The wind is coming through our headsets. You can tell that we're outside, but the wind is coming through. We are ready for spring. And maybe the kickoff of spring will be the Eastern Spring game this Saturday.
Well, or I think today maybe I think tomorrow is supposed to be a little iffy, and then the rest of the week is supposed to keep improving. And I know the weekend, fortunately, it's going to be big because I know besides the football game, Eastern's got about everything you can think of going on. On Friday and Saturday, men's and women's tennis are hosting conference matches. Baseball's at home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Softball's at home Saturday and Sunday, and the football game. So I mean, almost all the spring sports are going on at home this weekend between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So basically, if you're in town this weekend, you've got something to do. A lot going on. Even there's local games as far as high school goes. I'm in a wedding this weekend, so I'll be busy. I know that for sure. So. Yeah, congratulations, Seth and Alyssa. But it's a busy weekend for sure as far as Eastern sports go, and we're just ready for the warm weather. I've been doing baseball games for like 8 years now, and I've always been cold about the first week or two of the season, but never a month in. It's never been this cold, and he just said there's been snow on the ground here recently. So the warm weather is just around the corner. We hope. And we're ready to get it warmed up. Baseball season's fun. I mean, we've just got to get the warm weather here. And it seems like, luckily there hasn't been that much rain. It's just been cold. I don't think many games have been rained out. I think last year we had about 8 games rained out that we had to make up during this season, as far, to get all of our sponsors and stuff in. But this year, cross your fingers, so far we've not had any cancellations due to rain. Now there's been a couple I wanted to cancel because of the cold weather, but we've ended up doing them. And I've suffered through. I might have had some games where I was just up in the booth with about 6 jackets on and a heater. Now, the first game I did...
Not quite frostbite.
Exactly. The first game I did this year was Jackson City and Model when Model picked up the win. I had on 4 shirts, a jacket, and a heater. That's how cold it was. And it was like in maybe the 30s. It was chilly. It was chilly that first game of the year. Guys, it's about time for our third and final break. After the break, we'll talk about the Golden State Warriors, set to make history. They're set to make history, and the game is about to lose one of the best of all time. Kobe Bryant about to hang them up later on this week. So that and more coming up on the Wallingford Sports Show. We're live on 1340 WEKY, on 1550 WIRV, and you can also check us out on MadisonCountySchoolSports.com. I'm Michael Watkins. We'll be back in a moment, live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Richmond.
Welcome to the Wallingford Sports Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and MadisonCountySchoolSports.com.
All the way in for a touchdown.
Welcome back into the Wallingford Sports Show. Hugh Davis and myself, Michael Watkins, glad to have you tuned in. And Hugh, the NBA season is about to officially wrap up, and the Golden State Warriors are on the cusp of having the best record of all time. And I mean, there's no such thing as a guarantee in sports, but man, they have got almost a guaranteed lock on having the best record. They've got a team coming in Memphis who defensively has what it takes to slow down not slow down Golden State, but they can contain them at least. You've got really good defensive players for the Memphis Grizzlies. But, man, when they got this record on tap, I mean, I just don't see any way that Memphis comes into Oracle Arena and knocks off Golden State in the final regular season game of the year.
So it is the final one for.
It's the final one.
Some of them have 2 games left.
Yeah, some of them have 2 left.
Okay.
But Golden State's it'll be the last game of the year for them as they host Memphis. I believe it's on Wednesday when they play each other. But that'll be the last day of the regular season. That's Kobe Bryant's last game as an NBA player. We'll touch on that here in just a moment. But Golden State knocked off San Antonio last night. I think everybody thought Golden State would win. But Greg Popovich, how good is he? He's so good at the mind games. I mean, you look at what he does. Tim Duncan didn't play. Boris Diaw didn't play. And in the win that San Antonio had against Golden State this year, Diaw was huge. I mean, he's got the kind of body and the kind of game that goes perfectly against Draymond Green of Golden State. So, Duncan, I don't know if those 2 teams play in the playoffs, how many minutes he will get. because the way Golden State plays, Tim Duncan at 87 years old just can't play that way anymore.
But, I mean, you can say quality minutes, but that's not necessarily enough minutes. So
well, and Duncan obviously one of the best players at all time. He's not 87 years old. He's more like 60. But anyway, when you're that old, when you can't play that kind of minutes, when you can't play that fast pace, it's hard to stay up there. But what Popovich does all year, it allows his team to rest and get ready for the playoffs. And that's really why people love San Antonio, why they want to play there. I don't think anybody last year averaged over 30 minutes per game for the San Antonio Spurs. Even the young guys who can play that many minutes didn't see that much action. Then you throw in the guys that they've added at the trade deadline and in free agency that were released by teams. The Spurs are deep. It's going to be an interesting series if those two teams square off. And they're so good. Both those teams are so good. I don't see any way that they do not play each other in the Western Conference Finals. As far as the playoff picture goes, it's pretty much set in the Eastern Conference. They're just playing for position. The Cleveland Cavaliers will have the 1 seed, Toronto Raptors the 2 seed. Atlanta, Boston, Miami, and Charlotte are still vying for the 3 through 6 spots. And then Indiana and Detroit are battling for the 7 and 8 seed. I don't think anybody wants to play Cleveland in the first round. Detroit and Indiana both could beat Cleveland in one game, but they're neither one good enough to beat them in a series. So that'll be interesting to see if either one of those, or which one of those two teams.
Is that 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 7?
They're all 4 out of 7. Now, it used to be the best out of 5 in the first round, but now they're all 4 out of 7. But what's interesting is I'm a Celtics fan, as everybody knows. The Hawks, Boston, Miami, and Charlotte are all in that 3 through 6 range. Boston lost to Atlanta last Saturday night. They've got Charlotte left and Miami left. So the two teams that they're battling for position for, they will play at home. So Boston has a chance. They really hold their key in their own hand. They can do, if they win, they've got at least the 4 seed, potentially the 3 seed, depending on what the Hawks do. Over in the Western Conference, it's a lock. Golden State 1, San Antonio 2, Oklahoma City 3, and the Clippers are 4. Those 4 teams are set at where they are. Now, Portland and Memphis are already in position. They're in the playoffs. They have already secured them a spot. Looks like Portland's going to be the 6th seed. Portland will be the 5 seed, Memphis the 6 seed, and then Dallas, Utah, and Houston are all vying for the 6, 7, and 8 spot. Now, I hope the Mavericks don't make the playoffs, mainly because the Celtics get their draft pick. So if they don't make the playoffs, that means that pick will be higher. Not very much higher, but still it'll be a lottery pick, and those are hard to come by.
And of course, Dallas right now is in 7, so
they are in 7.
Have to wait and see.
Yeah, looks like as far as the conference standings go, Utah is the 8th seed. They're 1 game up on Houston. Dallas is 2 games up on Houston and a game up on Utah. But as far as the games go, there's some big games coming up in the NBA tonight. As we said, the Hornets and the Celtics play tonight. I think the Rockets play the Timberwolves. So if they win that game, they could potentially be a half game back behind Utah. Tomorrow, you've got Thunder and Spurs playing. I'm sure most of the big names in that game will rest. But you've got the Grizzlies, Clippers. The Grizzlies, if they lose that game and Houston can win, that could be a big game as well. And then on Wednesday, the final day of the regular season, you've got, I believe, the Bucks play the Pacers. The Pacers need to win that game to secure themselves the number 7 seed. Spurs play the Mavericks. Again, that's the last game of the regular season, so how many people for San Antonio will play? You might see Leonard and Green play, but I'd say all the older guys will probably sit out that one. So it's all about positioning now, and then in the Western Conference, you're trying to lock down those final 3 seeds. But the NBA playoffs, now I know most people around here they're not huge NBA fans, and then most of them, if they are NBA fans, don't pay attention until the playoffs start because that's really when the NBA gets interesting. That's how most people are around here. I've talked to a bunch of them. I know that's how Randy is, so it makes it a little difficult. I'm an NBA fan year round. I'm just a basketball fan in general. Now that the NCAA tournament is over, how about that game? We didn't get to talk about that.
Wow, yeah. Where we missed 2 weeks or had 2 ball games and then
the Reds last week.
Yeah.
But that was a tremendous game. But football season is right around the corner. We've got the Colonels, and we got to talk about some golf too. I know the Masters was this weekend, and how about the choke job by Jordan Spieth?
He had led, I think they said 6 or 7 rounds in a row, and then lost it yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
There was one hole I think he had about a 9 or a 10 on. I don't know. It hit it in the water twice and stuff like that. It's
kind of I'm horrible at golf. I mean, I think I mean, Randy could probably go play left-handed and beat me in golf. That's how bad I am. But I even think I could do better than what Speed did on that one hole for sure.
Yeah.
But it was just a choke job. Congratulations, I believe. The winner was it D?
Willits or
Willits, yeah,
or
that was the winner of the Masters. So,
and I was looking on the OVC site, and he's actually a Jacksonville State grad.
yeah,
so.
that's always interesting. You know, a local guy, well, not a local guy for us, but a guy that we've potentially seen before here around Richmond. He may have been in town when Jacksonville played against the Colonels a few years ago
in different golf tournaments that we host. We're correct.
But now you said it's a busy week here in Richmond as far as sports go. Obviously, you got to get out and watch the spring game. I'm excited for Colonel football this year. Coach Elder seems like he is so hyped and so excited about what he can do for this program. And it's been a program that has had so many big names, so much talent in recent years, and we've just we've knocked on the door, but not knocked the door over. And I think that's what Coach Elder wants to do with this football program. And as excited as he is,
as they say, knock on it and kick it in.
As excited as he is, I think if anybody can talk, if you see him out in town, just get him talking about EKU football. He is so excited. It's going to make you excited about what EKU can do. Maybe not this year, but once he gets his system implemented, gets his players in here, down the line, EKU football, I think, is in good hands.
Yeah. And another thing we on Saturday that we left out that's local, Madison Central is hosting a softball tournament for Officer Ellis. So, and there's going to be at least 4 games and maybe more, but at least 4 that I know are listed on the high school site. So between about 4 or 5 teams.
Well, we do want to say thanks to our sponsors. We also want to congratulate the Cello Diamond Sports Academy Players of the Week on the baseball side. It was Alec Rogers of Madison Southern. On the softball side, Casey Schneid from Madison Central softball. She had a great game, a solo home run. I've been doing softball for a while. I think that's the first home run I've seen in a softball game over the fence. Now, she knocked it over the fence and had a really good game.
Pretty much dead, or almost dead center, or out in center.
And she was a good basketball player. I got to call a couple games in basketball for her. She had a good season this year in basketball as well, but a solo home run. And then the game-winning hit, a single down the third base line that drove in Emily Frakes for the game-winning run and knocked off the district rival Madison Southern in the softball game last week.
And that game had been back and forth the whole game. I mean,
yeah, it was a tight one.
Schneid made it 1-0, and then Southern went ahead, and then Central tied it back up, and then
was it 5-4 the final? I think 5-4,
maybe 6-5, but.
It was a one-run game and a good game for her.
It was back and forth.
Yeah. But, guys, we're here every Monday, live from Buffalo Wild Wings from 6 to 7. You can check us out live on 1340 WEKY. You can check us out on 1550 WIRV. Also, check out MadisonCountySchoolSports.com. We'll be putting up a YouTube link. If you've missed the show or if you've talked to Alec Rogers or Casey Schneid, you want to let them know that they're the players of the week this week, you can let them know they can check out the link and watch the show. We also want to say thanks to Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and thanks to Bill Clary back at Studio Control. He's a busy man up at the radio station. I think he does everything but come over here and talk to us on Monday night for the radio station. So I know Bill's got his hand in pretty much everything. A busy gentleman up. I mean, we would not be on the air. That's 100% fact if it was not for what Bill does back at the station. Also, guys, Reds baseball, they'll follow us here in a few moments on 1340 WEKY and also on WIRV. So all that and more coming up this evening. I want to say thanks to Hugh Davis. Also, guys, I want to say thanks to Randy and the MadisonCountySchoolSports.com for coming over with us and getting us on the air over there as well. I'm Michael Watkins. You've been listening to the Wallingford Sports Show live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Richmond.
Welcome to the Wallingford Sports Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, and MadisonCountySchoolSports.com.
All the way in for a touchdown.
Follow Madison County School Sports Television on Twitter, or like us on Facebook, MCS TV, and of course, watch all of our videos on YouTube.